Okay, so a couple of episodes ago, I talked about understanding the message from the excesses. All right, so the reason why I wanted to talk about this a little bit more is in today's day and age, all right, there are so many people that want to preach a certain thing, but they take up a lot of excesses. Right. So when you want to talk about something, you now begin to talk about so many other things and go to the extremes. And this is stemming from that topic I was talking about, where I was talking about somebody was talking sorry, where a man was talking about hard work and everything, and I was able to extract what he was actually trying to say, or rather the core message of what he was to say without the excesses. I think is a very valuable skill for us to learn, where we listen for the main parts and throw away the rest. It's so important because except you're in a place where, like, for example, my church, Celebration Church International, where, we listen, like, for every preacher, for every sermon, there's a core message, and we tend to stick to the core message without going through excesses. In fact, a lot of the time we talk about the excesses. So we talk about the extremes. All right. Somebody mentioned that the called like doctrine is like a thinly threaded line through a needle. If you fall to one end, you are an excess. If you fall to the other, you are an excess. So you have to hit the nail on the head very, very exact. So I started like this to really, really talk about, because I've noticed it a lot. You hear some people speak and they make messages out of the excesses of what other people are talking about. So things that are not even the core messages, what you now build your doctrine on, where there is problem. Do you get? So when you see a motivational speaker talk about, put in your best, somebody now makes a doctrine out of when he said, wake up at 6 a.m., sleep by 12, and that has now become your personal life. Don't get me wrong. If that was a consecration from God telling you that, okay, this is the life you're supposed to live, then by all means. But don't make it core doctrine. Don't be telling people that the reason why I'm successful is because I wake up 6 a.m. and I sleep up 12 a.m. All right? The reason why I'm successful is because I push myself. I do what I need to do. No. The core message of that is putting a crazy amount of energy into whatever you want to do. And that is important. All right. But what I'm trying to explain here is, look, we as a people need to learn to listen, take out what is good. And I learned this from actually from the Holy Spirit, to be very honest, where there is always an ounce of truth. Let me not say they're always out of truth. In a lot of what people say, there is always an ounce of truth in it. It's about determining and discerning what is truth from what are excesses and what are lies and what are not needed. So when somebody is talking, and that's why whenever there's an argument or there's a debate or there's this discussion, let's close your mouth. I think in previous episodes I talked about that rule of thumb: whenever you enter a new place, 10 minutes, close your mouth. Don't say anything. Except you're explicitly called upon, learn to close your mouth. What this does for you is you need to hear all points of view, because there are so many times where you come in with a notion, you come with a mind, people talk, and then it helps you refine what you wanted to say, because there's no point in repeating what somebody else has said. Close your mouth and listen. When the person has said, just say, what you're piggybacking on what this person has said. What that does is it tells the person, oh, I heard you, I listen to you, I acknowledge what you're saying. I just want to add to what you're saying, as opposed to repeating what the person has said. Because when you're repeating what the person has said, all you're just saying is, bro, I wasn't listening to what you're saying, so I'm just going to say my own, which is very, very disrespectful. But back on what I'm saying, I'm trying to tell you that, look, as an individual, as a person, as a Christian, as somebody who wants to grow and do better things, what I would ask you to do is, look, don't always take every message hook, line, and sinker. Take time to review, take time to listen, take time to go over it again and pick out what you need. I always say this, in every message, when preachers are preaching, when people are talking, when sessions are held, not everything is for you. Everything may be good, but not everything is for you. There are some aspects of it that you are already strong in. What you do there is just, take it and continue to push in to greater heights. But there are some aspects that are specifically for you and match the context in which you need. So I used to take a class on the EVA program. The EVA program is the executive virtual assistant, free PR for them. If you're a virtual assistant and you want to upskill or you want to learn more and you also want to be matched, I think that's the place to be. Anyway, I used to take classes there, take sessions there. What I used to tell my participants all the time was, okay, hi, listen, all right, what I'm teaching you isn't just for virtual assistants. If you apply it in any aspect of your life, you will make serious progress, be highly productive, and be a person of value. And that's what I'm saying. And what I used to tell them is, okay, listen, the context to which this is speaking, I'm speaking in generic context. You need to be able to take it and apply it into your life. So there are many messages or sessions like that where they are talking about a specific thing. And while it may not apply to you all the time, there's a context to which it may apply to you. So it is wisdom for you to be able to take that thing. I don't know if I'm speaking too much, Jessa. Take that thing and apply it to which the context that is yours. Context is, for me, one of the most important things that we often ignore in our day-to-day speaking. Pastor Aaron said this thing in Remote Camp. There are so many people that you are lacking necessary context, but you are talking on matters that you ought not to. You open your mouth. You don't know the full story. Even if you think you know the full story, you don't know the full context of that story. And you just be yapping. Even in our reading the Bible, it's so clear. Because all of us, the Bible was sent to us. Not for us. No, I think it's the other way around. The Bible was sent for us, not to us. The Bible was sent for us, not to us. So in other words, the Bible, and I'm not sorry. It's good that I'm going biblically. The Bible was sent to the Jews. So the person that was writing had the Jews in mind. That's why there's a lot of cultural things or cultural context that we often miss in the 21st century, because we take it as whatever Paul was saying to us. No, sir. Paul was talking to Jews. Paul was talking to people of that time. So there's a lot of cultural contexts, all right, that if you don't know, you'll get part of the message, but you will not fully understand what they were talking about. Context. That's cultural context. That's just an example. All right. So understanding the context and the core message of things before you just begin to apply them or talk about them is so key. And this is where I'm talking about. So when you hear preachers, or I'm using the word preachers because I can't think of anybody else, or people who have sessions, you go for TEDx, you go for all these things. These people had a certain way of life they've lived. And I always say this thing, people talk from their experiences. In other words, when somebody is talking, they are talking from what they've perceived from their experiences. You have perceived an entirely different life. So you cannot, and hear me, except they explicitly tell you, you cannot just begin to imbibe whatever they tell you without applying it into your context. You always need to. I don't get it how you go to a TEDx, you write everything down and then you just pour it into your own life. There will be issues. There will be practical issues. You need to be able to look at it and say, okay, this is me. This is how I'm going to apply this. This is how I'm going to do this. This is how I'm going to do this. And honestly, you get more results like that. The reason why a lot of people take advice and it doesn't work for them is because they don't just apply it to their context. Full stop. If you learn to apply things into your context, and I know I'm talking a lot about context, but it's so important. Because you hear a lot of people say, oh, a pastor preached this, I went to do it, it didn't work. Why will it work? When the pastor is talking about one thing, you heard it, you carry that same thing that doesn't apply to your context and went to go and do it. I don't understand. There are other, many other reasons why it won't work. Because some people are trying to use God as an ATM, as if God was made for you. Where is the other way around? You were made for God. All right. So yeah. I just thought to put this out there so that we all learn. I will understand. I used to be like that where I never understood context. Anything where they tell me, I go just carry on, put it inside. No. Always learn to apply and put. All right. It's not good for you as a person to take everything hook, line, and sinker. It's also not good for you as a person to not listen to anybody just because you think this is my life. Nothing else applies to me. Believe me, it takes time for you to fully understand that in everything everybody is saying, there is always something to gain from it. Don't just be rushing. Some of you, I've done, I've done. Calm down. Listen. It won't take you more than anything to. Listening is not even that hard. Like, maybe it's because me, I've built this skill, but I don't even think listening is that hard, sincerely. Shut up and listen, sincerely. Like, people talk too much in this day and age. And that's ironic coming from a podcaster. But yeah. Anyway, as usually end every episode, please, if you have any comments, if you have any shares, if you have any shares, can you imagine? If you have any comments that you like to add, things you may disagree with, your disagreements could even be another episode. So if you have something you want to talk about, or you have something you'd like me to talk about, I'm not saying I will talk about it too. Somebody will come in the comments and say, talk about your relationship. I'm single as a singlet, as a singularity. Like, don't worry about that. Obviously, I said I'm not going to call anybody out. If you ask me, why haven't you spoken on this? I'm not speaking on it. There are some things that I'm not supposed to speak on, and I will not. All right, so thank you so much. Please like, share, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, react, like, give a comment. All right, give a good review, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks.